Hi, this is Timothy from Master of Memory, and I'm about to show you the most effective method for learning vocabulary in any language, including a tactic that I'm sure you have never heard of before that will remarkably improve your ability to tie the meaning of a word to its pronunciation. You may have heard before that the best way to learn vocabulary is to use some sort of mnemonic, some sort of funny story that will tie the meaning of a word to the word itself. Well, I agree with this tactic. It's definitely the best way to learn vocabulary and never forget what a word means. You start with a funny story, but then the more and more you use the word, the gap in your mind between the word and its meaning grows closer and closer until eventually you can just forget the mnemonic because you have the word tied so closely to the meaning. I'm going to show you how to make this work for any word in any language. Remember, here's the model for remembering anything. In the case of vocabulary, the word is the trigger, the mnemonic is your funny story about the word, and what that points to is the meaning of the word. Now here's the part of the method that's never been shown before. When you create your mnemonic, always base your mnemonic on the stressed syllable of the word. Using the stressed syllable helps with three things. First, it makes it a ton easier to choose a mnemonic. Instead of trying to create a story from the whole word, you know which part of the word to use to create your mnemonic. Second, it ensures that every time you read a word or hear it spoken, you know where to find the mnemonic to tie it back to the meaning. If you always use the accented syllable, you don't have to spend extra time trying to remember which part of the word your funny story spins off of. In other words, the trigger will always be easy to identify. Third, it significantly strengthens your ability to pronounce words like a native speaker. If your mind's focus is on the stressed syllable every time you say a word, which it will be if you use this tactic, your pronunciation will automatically sound better. Let's use a couple of examples from the 50 most frequently used Spanish words. Here's alguno, which means some or someone. The stressed syllable is goon. Let's say you have a main character trying to pick out someone for his team, but all he sees is a big crowd of goons. He throws his hands up in frustration and says, "Well, I have to pick someone. I have to pick alguno." Now let's try otro, which means other. The stressed syllable is oat. Imagine your character looking at a bunch of grains in a shop. The corn and rice and wheat are all on a shelf, but the oats are on the floor because they're just that other grain, that otro grain. Finally, let's use estar, one of the 4 most commonly used verbs in Spanish. It means to be, but in a different sense than the other to be verb, ser, in that estar refers more to characteristics we consider non-essential to one's identity, things like location, so to be in a certain place or something like that. Imagine your character looking up at the night sky and wishing to be up there, saying, "I wish to be with the stars," or "I wish estar with the stars." Like anything, this takes practice, but it gets really easy as you get used to it. In next week's video, I'm going to show you how to make sure that you don't confuse a word in one language with a similar or identical word in another language. When we learn Spanish this June, I'm going to have all the mnemonics for every essential word already created for you, using the solid techniques that I've shown you and more. If you're not yet signed up to be fluent in Spanish in 1 month for free using resources better than any paid product, make sure to register at the link below. It'll keep you in the loop, and I'll continue sharing more helpful, never-before-released tactics for rapid, effective language learning, the best in the world, and it's completely free. I'll even answer your questions personally to ensure that all of your accelerated learning interests are addressed. Thank you all, and I'll talk to you again soon.